afternoon episode of 94 Feet with Coach JT. Again, thanks for everybody who's been listening, watching, man, on all the airways, leaving comments and just suggestions, and also tapping in with me. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Again, shout out to everybody who's listening, tuning in. Subscribe, as they say. Hit the website real quick, though. I'm working on these graphics. Got the website up. Got some merch going. 94feetwithcoachjt.com. Got some t-shirts on sale still, some hats, some different stuff. Full website. You can watch episodes. You can buy merch. You can even check out the events page I got going on there with some events going on here in Sacramento. Again, appreciate y'all support on this Monday, man. I gotta get this good doctor right on. We'll get right to it. My man get his rest to bounce back for his next day of work. But I'm running to a short bio real quick, man. Dr. Brown's a Morehouse graduate. I got my HBCU shirt on too. I gotta get him one too. Actually, I think I got him a real one for him over here. I might send it your way.
Don't send me one.
I already do, man. From Morehouse College, also Boston University. Man, he went to medical college. And is that how you pronounce that? Meharry. Okay, as well. He's also on the board certified emergency physician and assistant professor in emergency medicine and health equity and social justice curriculum thread lead at Stanford University School of Medicine. Throughout his career, he has been in the front lines of social medicine and health equity. He also is a chief impact officer of T.R.A.P. medicine, barbershop-based wellness initiative that leverages the cultural capital of barbershops to address the physical and emotional health of Black men and boys. Dr. Brown also serves as a diversity, equity, inclusion consultant for organizations like Google and YouTube, and contribute to health, equity, wellness, commentary to the New York Times, NPR, USA Today, GQ, Men's Fitness, and Bloomberg as well. But also, man, he's not a little bro anymore. He's a big bro. He's a young man, a friend of mine, somebody, a church family brother of mine who I've known for years. Dr. Italo Brown, I appreciate you, my guy. How you doing today, Doc?
JT, I'm blessed to be here, man. We have a long history, and I just want to make sure I honor and say I love what you're doing. It's incredible to highlight some of this homegrown talent, and I'm just happy to be here rapping with you today, bro.
Yeah, man. And I know, again, I've watched we've been around since day one of it, man. Like we talked offline when we got started, bro. The start of this thing, but now you said if we would have thought 25 years later we'll be doing what we're doing, servicing people, helping others. I mean, like I said, bro, advocates in the community in two different forms and facets, right? Doing two different totally things, but still helping community, but also mentoring, trying to help other men, boys alike, man. It's like, but it's a blessing in all of it. Like we said, man, I'm thankful to be what I'm doing. I'm glad to see you're doing, and I'm always going to support you because, bro, it's not for everybody what you do. It's not for everybody what you do.
You say that again.
and you gotta be a special person, man. But also you gotta have something inside of you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's something like, you know what I mean? Like right now we're gonna get into that a little bit, bro. So I mean, just get into let's take it back. Cause I mean some people may know the doc, they may know of the doc, but just give me a little bit about the upbringing of before Dr. became Dr. Brown, man. What was that like for you, man? Just give some information.
So, you know, I'm from Sacramento, Southside Sacramento, born and raised. My parents, you know, they poured a lot into me. I was blessed to have two parents. One was a firefighter. The other was a teacher. So my dad was a firefighter at McClellan Air Force Base, Air Force fireman. And then my mom, she taught at Job Corps First, the one over there near
Road. Right there, still open, man, still going.
She taught there first, worked for the state, and then got a job working at Florence High School as an English teacher. And so, you know, when you look at these two jobs, it's like a mother who values education and learning, and then my father who's like running into burning buildings when everybody runs out.
Service.
And so those two jobs are kind of what kind of crafted my upbringing. I'm heavy in being raised at Antioch Progressive, obviously. JT was the big bro when I was in there trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't know if I want to be in the choir. I don't know.
But our parents said you have to do something.
You have to be somewhere.
We're going to be there 4 or 5 days out of the week.
Yeah.
We're going to be with other youth. We're going to communicate, other families, and our parents and whatever aunties were together. But it's like, y'all going to do something. So like we made the best of that thing.
Right. I'm going to drop you off and you're going to be there with some like-minded kids.
Right.
So don't embarrass me.
Right. And you're going to communicate. You got to participate too. You can't just sit there and do nothing. Right. We're going to take you here. But also back then, and you know, now is what the world needs to get back to some kind of way. It was a safe haven for us to go to. And we knew each other's families. We knew each other. I know, hey, I'm all them. We all together. Our parents, they cool. They grew up together for years. I'm cool. I know they people. I know the church family, or somebody else gonna monitor them. Even if the parents weren't there, we knew somebody else had eyes on us at all time.
That's
It wasn't, you know what I mean? And that was something, again, in those days was good time. Like I said, man, during those times, again, trying to figure out who we're gonna be, but also I guess that was laying the framework for who we are today. If we look at it, right?
Exactly.
The structure, the communication, the learning, Bible knowledge. I mean, you know, all that stuff, right? Just how to hold on to something and be true though, but also be supportive and also know where our help comes from. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong there. And I felt like those connections are kind of what sustained me. It gave me the first real understanding of what fellowship looked like. It also gave me an idea of how to build wellness into your routine, because this was a spiritual wellness that we were seeking, and we didn't really know what it looked like. But early it was like, hey, I know where I'm going to be this many days out the week. I know what's going to happen on summer. I already had a routine. And then I think the last major thing that I really appreciated about it is at the time, I didn't realize that there were so many people who were doing positive things out of our church, right? You think about the communities that we come up from, and a lot of communities across the US where they don't have positive role models, influences around them. And this was like constantly our surroundings. So I'm just grateful for that.
We had teachers, we had doctors, we had probably some we didn't even know were certain things. We're like, what? We had people in the armed forces. We had, I mean, we could run
businessmen,
right?
Finance guys, lawyers, everything you could think about, teachers, coaches. I loved all of it.
Yeah, we did, man. And at that time, I mean, that was the value, right? So that was probably the hidden gem. We didn't know, but our parents like, nah, you were around some people who really doing things, who look like us also, but also will hold us accountable, but also let us grow, but also relationship with each other's families and kids, right? That grew us like, okay, you know what? Not we generally loved each other and grew up and developed those relationships and friendships that are to this day. And which is dope, man. Like I said, that foundation is everything, man. So growing up in South Sac, man, you talk about mom and dad. They were in acts of service all of your life, right? What was that? Was that something like that? You thought that take them away from you growing up, or you was like, oh, my mom and dad are always helping people. I think that's kind of cool or dope.
It took me a while to appreciate it. I looked at it two ways. You know, my dad worked one day on, one day off. So some holidays he wasn't there. I go play a basketball game, he might pop up. I just was like, all right, if I still got to go out there and ball, I still got to go do my thing. And with my mother, it was just like nothing could ever slide because she was in the same district that I was in. So it was like, you better be getting good grades because I can make a phone call and know what your report card is. I don't want to hear no mess because these are the people who are at the district that I also go to district meetings with. I know the superintendent, like all of that stuff. So it was like the reins were very tight. I did appreciate though that my father and my mother did a lot of communication between the two of them to figure out like how they could show up for me, even though it was like, all right, you got to give him some room. He got to be a kid or a young man. So don't just be on him all the time. And then my dad being like, all right, what can I make? What's important? What do I need to make sure that I'm 100% there for? One of those things was he used to take me to martial arts. Like whenever he was off, we was going to the gym, the dojo, and we were going to train. And so that was like basketball, martial arts. That was our thing.
Okay, so that's dope. That's what's up, man. And shout out to a big sis also. Me having a twin, you have an older sis. How was the relationship? Again, trying to split time. You know how us guys, we like, okay, but then girls in the household, we like, man, y'all do a little extra. We kind of chill. Boys want to be active, but how was the relationship, big sis and everybody in that too, man?
Oh man. So my sister and I are 22 months apart, so just under 2 years. We're very close, always have been very close. In fact, just like you and your sister, people don't even separate the names. They just be like, you know,
we always link.
Right. And they were like Italo and Dale. And so that's how it really took a long time to gain an identity because of the fact that we were always together. I think our parents were really helpful at doing that. They were like, you know, you're your own person. We'll come support you all equally. Dale was into the creative side. She did the arts. And I was like, yo, I'm athletics and the science and math. That was our thing.
Yeah, that's definitely dope. But also I think it keeps you and her, because I know especially as we gotten older too, the together is still there. You know, like if anybody got your back, sis gonna rock till the wheels fall off. You ain't never got to question that, bro. Right or wrong, so everybody's got to live with it. It's just that brother sister thing, man, which is dope, and I definitely respect it. But also, yeah, I know she's been a great person too, man. Like I said, I think I ran into a while ago. She's just still being crafty in the arts, but just a great person. So, I mean, just been her. But I think who would you say? Okay, did she take more after mom or dad's approach, sister wise?
100% my mom. I think that my sister is literally like 95% my mom, 5% my dad. And the 5% that she is my dad is the percentage of her that will punch somebody.
When it come down to it, right?
Like, if it come down to it, she'll fire on him.
it.
And I think that's from him, but everything else comes from my
definitely
mom.
Mom's laid back approach, man. Just always smiling. I remember smiles, you know what I'm saying? Dad too.
Yeah.
Dad sit back in the cut. He don't say much, but you tell Dad always watching though. He always watching. Always got his eyes open, shaking hands, say hello, give you a handshake. But my mom's always smile more, if definitely communicate out there. But Dad, Pop's got some eyes on you, man. Just growing up like that, man. Growing up, bro. Just I mean, we were, and it's kind of like we were around. We formed our group of friends, right? I had our group of friends. Y'all was right under us, but we all were together. But also just during that time, bro. Outside, you talk about sports. What stuff outside of sports were you into at an early age, but it may have kept you occupied some of your time? Or was it just martial arts and sports, or was there any other thing that you kind of dealt with and dabbled in as well?
Yeah, no, I was lucky, man. We did a lot of traveling as kids, right? So my dad, he was a van warrior, as I like to call him. Get in this van and we're gonna go somewhere. And so, I had at a very early age been to multiple states. So I got a chance to see, the country a little bit differently than most of my colleagues. And I had family members all over. So being able to, connect with family members across age ranges and getting that experience was something I thought brought more maturity to me. The other thing was, the crew that I rolled up with, guys were on multiple sides of things. I had my god brother actually stood probably like a foot taller than I did. Victor Rice, growing up, that was who I worked with. And then Aaron and Mark, these are guys that we went to school with. They all had different things that they were into. So working with Aaron, he got me into golf. Messing around with Victor, he had me out here looking at race cars and trying to figure out automotives. So those are things that at an early age gave me a more well-rounded approach to the world, and it wasn't just sports.
Right. The exposure was definitely dope. I mean, that's the advantage of having different backgrounded family members or associates or non-blood brothers, but brothers now that we grew up with, because they do a little something different. I can see something different. Maybe I go over his house on the weekend. Oh, now we're doing something different. I never seen that part, which is dope. At what point, man, do you really, middle school, high school, I'm not sure, do you figure out or feel like, this medical field is interesting to me, is where like this interests me, because I'm not a black man. We run the sports, right? We run athletics. We do music, rap. That's what we do. But now now to choose, I'm going to do something different. It's not the norm, right? But I also know everybody's not probably going to like this, or they might have their doubts about me doing this. But what got you attracted, or what made you push it? Did something happen to get you like, nah, I want to get this, man. I can see my future. I can see my imprint on life, on people right here.
No, it was two major events, man. So I was really heavy into being on the team. I was team captain of almost every team I was on. And it was a personality thing, a leadership thing, and the ability to communicate with guys. When I was in 9th grade, two things happened. One was we had to do a report on some type of career field. And they told us personally that we could not pick something like rapper or like
whoever that was good. Though, but that was they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Right. I was mad at first, but I was like, at the time, it was an assignment. I was going to get it done. And I shadowed a sports medicine doctor. His name was Eric Hayden. And he was also an Olympian. He was here in Sacramento, had his own practice, an Olympic speed skater. And so when I followed him through the office, I was like, this is kind of cool, because, you have the medals in the office and he's still able to talk the sports talk, but was working with young athletes and trying to restore their mobility. And I was like, that's really cool. And then the second thing was, talking to my mom, she asked me, she was like, you're probably going to max out around maybe 6 feet. You're not going to be one of those guys. And she was like, you can jump through the gym. I understand that. But as things get closer to the top, it may not be realistic for you to be in the league. And so what do you think you can do? And I was like, I don't know. I kind of like science. And she was like, yeah, you could be a doctor. And I was like, I could. And she was like, sports medicine doctors, they get to go to the games. They get to literally be on the court. And once she said that, I was like, so I could still be around the game and like get paid, and that's when it all
sports. I can still get paid. I can travel. I can be around and get perks. Like it's a.
I was like, win-win. That was it. And then eventually, I just directed my attention towards trying to be a doctor, or at least pursue medicine.
So when you make this push, was it what was the first step? Do you remember making that? Is it a something or call? Is it a class you took? Do you remember the first initial step you took, and how hard was that? Because I mean, quick example of mine. I remember I went back to grad school. My first day, I was like, ooh, But I wanted to have that profession, to be a college coach at junior college, you have a master's, and not in 4 year, which I didn't understand. But I was like, you gotta take the class, and I was like, oh, I gotta go back to school, but I want to do this though. But I was like, ooh, first night it was rough. First day was rough. But what was your first initial like push or step you took to get to that course?
The major push was in my senior year, really doubling down on things that would be considered nerdy. Like it's hard to be the athlete, but you also like cool and into like things that were intelligent.
Sheldon High School, my fault. I give out Sheldon High School graduate.
Oh, you already know.
Show you a little love right here. Show you a little love. Sheldon High School
there we go.
Graduate over there. But yeah, so the uncommon thing for a black dude anywhere, right? And then be a doctor,
right?
Like, bro, you was on the hoop court like 2 weeks ago, like.
Right. And so that was really the hard part, was going against what the expectation was, to just be like a jock, the cool kid, but being on like the mathletes. Like I was a mathlete. And so that was really weird. And the crazy part was my teammate was also a mathlete, and we had to keep telling each other it was okay. Nice. The teammate I had his name's Trent Redden. He's now the GM of the Clippers.
Small world. Yeah. Coach, shout out to Coach B Moore. I know he can watch it. Brian Moore.
And B Moore.
B Moore hit me. He was like, Jay, he's over here coaching the Clippers. Hey, hopefully you get him on the show. You heard it from your 2 old teammates. Old Coach B Moore. Like, hey, man, but and that's relationships right there, right? Y'all right there.
That's how it happened.
That's crazy, bro.
That's how it happened. So he pulled me aside and was like, he was a huge influence for me as a young man. He was telling me, keep staying on these studies, man. You kill it here. And so that push to actually do things that were intelligent and get good grades and lead on the court was the first major step. And then the second one was just going to Morehouse College and realizing that excellence had multiple shapes, multiple flavors. And you could be excellent in anything as long as you knew it was in your DNA.
Hey, bro. And again, I'm gonna say all the black college people I know this about. If you can make it at HBCU, you can make it anywhere. And you got to travel pretty that though. So you got to see a little bit more. Some kids don't get to travel and go see the HBCU though. But when you make that choice to go there, bro, and then you step on that campus, that I will say that even though I haven't gone there physically yet, but I've seen enough, I know enough. When you get in that environment, what you're a part of, bro, that's second to none. I've seen a couple of gentlemen from SAC recently get accepted. One of the kids from Kennedy last year got accepted, bro. His first day there, how they bring him in, a couple people, it's second to none, bro. I'm just watching how the intake process is on campus for the gentlemen. I'm like, that is dope, though. That's a whole nother monster, but it's a blessing as well, right?
It is.
How did you feel though, being a part of a new team, of a new, a new structure, new team, but also like, man, this is young manhood now.
Yeah, it was something that I think I yearned for. I didn't have a biological brother, and so growing up, I always looked for opportunities to build those relationships with older and guys who were like my near peers. And so once I got to Morehouse, I just remember there was something different in the environment, in the air. They tell you from day one, like there's this crown that's over your head. It's like sitting there and you have to grow into this crown. And that's something I had never really been told before. Like, you're telling me that I'm capable,
I can get that,
and I'm excellent, and I can just get there. All I have to do is double down on my commitment to growth and to being as excellent as I could be. That felt different. I really thought helped was realizing that like we were all in a similar place in our lives. Like everybody was trying to figure out who they were, and it made it normal. You made it normal because you're around other people who are having the same questions as you, and there's a cultural relevance as well as an experiential relevance that you share. So I could ask a question and someone would be like, yeah, I feel that way too. So it made it very organic to grow and learn and to really just like sink into my true talents and abilities.
That's a lot of commonalities too, man. That means it does us good to find people who are going through the same thing we're going through. Or I can walk that struggle together. Oh, now I'm not alone though. Even though we may not say it out loud, like, are we really in this together? Okay, cool. It's not, because it's difficult enough by ourselves, right? Especially again, young black male by ourselves alone. But if we have another brother, somebody else to support us, it's a little better, man. It eases that pain. It helps us get through that. But also it's like, hey, like you said, shout out to even your old teammate. It pushes us to keep going. Like, okay, let's keep going together. Let's get through this together, man. Give me a few highlights though while you was at Morehouse, man. I know you had some good times. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple things I'm gonna throw at you later on. But give me a couple highlights, man, because you grow from being a Cali kid. Right. Now you go down south, you know what I mean, to live though. You're growing down there. What are a few things that you just highlight about that place that you'll never forget, man?
Yeah, man. Well, let me start with actually getting there. So when I first traveled I got a scholarship to go to Morehouse as a senior, and I went down there, and the first person that I connected with was Storm Briggs, and we knew Storm from growing up, and And Storm just like told me, he was like, we can thrive here as a kid from California. Just because you're far from home doesn't mean that you are not accepted and you're not going to be somebody who can actually, again, thrive. But highlights, man, the first one I pledged while I was there. I became an alpha. And I think that, again, in the footsteps of Brian Moore, in the footsteps of Storm Briggs, men who had, in the footsteps of Claude Odom, men who had significant effects on me and an impact on me growing up. I became an alpha. And then I think the world just kind of unlocked for me there. I was able to do, you know, step shows with, you know, Will Smith, with Mike Vick, Jamie Foxx. I did a bunch of things. I was in a movie, Stomp the Yard. Like all of those things came with the experience. The other major highlight would be, I think that was where I first settled into the fact that it's okay to be intelligent. I didn't feel awkward anymore by having like talking differently than my peers. I didn't feel, you know, alienated. And I think the other one would be just knowing that life events happened and I knew exactly where I was. I remember when Hurricane Katrina came and I drove down to go get my sister from New Orleans because she was at Xavier 3 days before it actually happened. I remember when Barack Obama was he was still a senator and he had come down to Atlanta and I saw that. I remember campaigns where actual people who were running were physically there, walking into entertainers and rappers and world pivoting, changing thinkers on campus. So like those are the things that I remember from my college experience.
Definitely dope. Like I said, nothing like the South. I respect. I love it. My family down there got roots down that way. But though that upbringing, those trials too. But I mean, those good times, right? Give me one of the hardest things though, because I mean, of course, we all talk about wins, right? But also, we don't forget the losses. But it's been tough. Even I was down south when Katrina hit. You know what I'm saying? People don't know. Without no power, I was in Mississippi. You know what I mean? At my grandparents down that way, it's a different struggle. Like it really, gas went from already cheap to $5 a gallon in a place where they don't have that much gas anyway. You know what I mean? Right. So some of those things, but also again, together, people overcome. Like it was network. Hey man, you got some over here or come over here. You know, having those resources, man, make us a better person. But give me a struggle that you may have to overcome. You know what I'm saying? That still shaped you to where you are today too.
Yeah, no, I mean, in high school, I was really good at just going to class, listening, and I could perform on the test and basically kill it. I got to college, that wasn't the case. I failed multiple exams. Like, people think that this pathway happened naturally. I'm like, no, I graduated with a 2.81 GPA. I failed a 1-credit lab, and I did not get to graduate with my class. I had to walk in the summer because I took summer school. My whole family was down there like that episode of The Cosby Show. And I had to tell them, like, yo, I'm not gonna be walking across this stage on Sunday. and it was just an awkward feeling and realizing that like this could be the one inflection point in my life that could lead me down another path. But I was able to recover. And that to me was one of the most painful things to go through, is not graduating, really trying to be excellent and falling short, and having to figure out what you do when all the pieces have like fallen apart. Yeah, and so I've been there.
That's during these times. What are some things, or who are some people that you may have again leaned on, or you need that crutch, or what did you do? I mean, or again, I mean, how often did you pray during that time, man? Because I mean, as we know, during those times, sometimes it may be somebody, it may be nobody, but just you and him.
Right. I did a lot of praying. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was one of the things that was embedded in me early, was to figure out what it could look like and coming to God with your struggles. But I turned to my family. I turned to my mother. She was someone who never was judgmental. She knew I could do better, but still would listen. And grandmother similarly. But I had brothers who were also there, people who helped reinvest in the part where I had to like create upward momentum after this significant loss or significant downfall. I had coaches like who were still in my life. Brian Moore, he still was emailing and texting me at that time. And then I think there was one professor on campus who just would never let me accept that the story was over. You know, this guy, Lance Shipman Young, Dr. Young, was an organic chemistry teacher. And he would just be like, "Come, Dr. Brown." And he would call me before I was even a doctor. He would just be like, "You can do it, Dr. Brown."
Stay it out there. That's crazy.
And it just really helped.
That's what's up, man. That's what's missing though, as we know, right? That's what's needed, those environments, but also that support system where look, you are that. You can be this, young man. You can be this. You can be something different and be accepted, man. So you make through one accomplishment, man. I was reading a short bio, man. You've had different levels of where you had to take to get you are. What made you keep going? What made you like there's more to do or there's more to be done? Because after 4 years of that or 1 degree, like, okay, whew, I'm done. Bro, you ain't stopping, my guy. You ain't stopping.
Yeah. I took it personal, man. I started getting this real serious tenacity around the idea of being the doctor, and it wasn't a title to me. It wasn't a role. It was more like a calling. I would have dreams where I would see patients like that were on the other end of a finish line, and they were like asking, "Come on, we need you." And when you go to sleep and you wake up that way, it kind of haunts you. And so I just converted that to positive energy. I failed, the medical college admissions test twice. I had people pour into me and eventually yank me up and be like, "You can get this right." And it clicked finally. But I think that the major drive was just realizing what I came from, and who, my family was, knowing like in a generation, my dad not having a college degree, coming from Saginaw, the same place as Draymond and Venus and Serena Williams, and just being like, "Yo, we are tough, and this is what is in you because it's in me." Activating that, and then thinking about Sac, man. Like everywhere I go, I believe that Sacramento has to be represented, because sometimes it feels like a black hole. Sometimes it feels like our greatest product doesn't get the optics that it deserves. And I felt like I was the tip of the spear, especially in this space. So I had to penetrate through whatever was in front of me, and all these barriers had to just be dismantled.
Yeah, man, definitely. It did me a great joy even during COVID hit, bro. And you on the front line of all this thing. I mean, from the podcast, the shows, the interviews, to giving us information about health. Because again, as we know, we'll see what other people say. But then, okay, now I'm like, if you saying it, I'm definitely gonna listen to even more so you. I'm like, because you have no reason to steer us wrong, right or wrong, or if anything, based off our relationship, I'm gonna trust you because I wanted you to trust me in the same way. So I'm gonna listen to what my guy got to say, and I was like, okay, y'all, if don't nobody else say nothing, I'm listening to what my brother says right here because it's needed to learn health, safety, whatever, family members. I'm like, he giving out gems, y'all better listen. He giving out, he chiming in, he posting, he stating stuff when in time where it was so much other information out there. It's like, well, you can believe what you want, but I'd rather have heard it from somebody who I at least know and trust. And it wasn't based off of this is years of communication and interaction. So I feel better during the time where everybody was like, well, I don't know what to believe or what to do or what's safe, because I'm like, well, if I'm going through it, I know you're going through it. I know you know about your family, man. So to step forward, and that was bold. First off, what was the initial? Again, was it something you felt like you had to do, head spearing it, or something like, you know what, I just want to do it to make sure I protect those who may be listening?
Well, I think that part of it was understanding like the role that I now assumed in society, right? Think about it. If you would have told me 25 years ago that I would one day, finish medical school, but before going to like I would fail and then get into medical school, but before going there, have to do public health training and become an epidemiologist, is somebody who tracks disease patterns, and then get into medical school, and then finish medical school and be like, hey, I actually want to be an emergency doctor, and then arrive at the footsteps of a global pandemic with the training in public health, with the training in emergency medicine, and very intimately involved in community work with people of color. Like that would have been
but so basically though, you really was prepping for it your whole time.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you got to understand how divine the pathways are. And because I had failed before, I already knew what it was like to come up against an obstacle and have to figure out what you're going to do. So when I looked at Black people as a whole, and specifically communities that are marginalized and often underserved, I was like, we're going to suffer from this in a way that other people don't really understand. And so having this foresight, I got to be able to stand in the gap. And I knew that people would listen to me because I ain't never been somebody who was unrelatable. I've always kept it a buck. I've always been like a straight thorough dude. So you knew you were going to get something that was honest and real. And then I'm vulnerable. Like I'm going to show you exactly what I'm struggling with and make it normal for people to have to, encounter these things. Because I've showed my entire life like what it feels like to go through these things. And like, you're not alone. So the pride that I got is the part that I don't talk about. It was something I felt a tremendous amount of pride in being able to like communicate health information to people at a level that was bite-sized and at wherever they were, because the ultimate person I had to convince was my father. My father, he doesn't trust doctors. This is a dude from the 60s, who doesn't really believe in the healthcare system. So when I had to communicate stuff to him and get him and his brothers to trust what I'm saying, it was like, if I can do it for them, I can definitely do it for other people.
Facts. That's definitely dope, man. And to do it with a way, one foot in front of the other, no left, no right, bro. I mean, that whole process. We in the house, so I had time to tune in to all the things. I know we tapped in early before I started this podcast right during COVID, a little bit after. I'm like, man, he's going. I'm like, man, consistency. I'm watching, but also, bro, that's a bold move in a time where people can throw stones your way. People can tear down your information. People can say things you're not trying. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, you know what? But also, who else is doing it besides you that we can relate to? Who's going to offer up that information wholeheartedly? And there's so much respect, bro, for you that. And again, knowing you, I'm like, okay, man, this dude's out here doing it purposefully, not wavering, because I know it's not easy. I know it couldn't have been easy. But again, much props to you, bro, because I mean, it was effective. People were tuning in. I'm seeing the reviews. Everybody's like, okay, you see? I'm like, yeah, I'm watching. And it was good information. So I appreciate you doing that too, man, because you didn't have to. You know what I mean? So I definitely got to give you your flowers for that too, bro, because that was something dope. Man, this trap medicine, when that kicked off, I thought that was dope. Like in a space where we know the barbershop, a lot goes on in the barbershop. This right here, what we're doing, been going to barbershops since we were little guys, right? We didn't know it was going to come to this level, right? We should have recorded our conversations back then, but maybe not. I don't know, barbershop talk. But what made you shift that into a way to help, again, our people or others in general? Because that's where everybody, fellas, that's where we go. That's where we go. If it's now they're more isolated, I get it. But you get the one-on-one with somebody, which is still cool. Right. But back then it was like, hey, it's two for homies, the OGs over here. You go and you the little fella. But it's a lot of talking going on. What made you turn this into something like that?
Yeah, man. A couple of things. One, barbershop-based health work is not new. Like barbershops in general, that if you go to the history of barbershops, that was where you had surgeries performed. You know what I'm saying? Like historically, that's what that red and white stripe, that's blood. That it was actually symbolic. Right?
Yes, that's what it means. Yeah.
And then they used to have like people who had the best hands, who are obviously the barbers. They could cut something, could do the surgery right there in the barbershop. And so that's the first real reason why there's a root there. But in the 70s and the 80s, people were using barbershops to reach people of color to address issues related to heart health. If they had high blood pressure or having heart attacks, they were like, we can reach them in the barbershops. So I kind of knew about all of this because of the work I did in public health. And then my brother, Jamil Lacey, man, he's a cat out of Oakland. He and I went to Morehouse together, and I remember him coming up and being like, man, I want to start this thing called T.R.A.P medicine. And I was like, that's slick, and T.R.A.P was trust, research, access, and prevention. And I said, this is highly valuable, and I understand the reason why you're doing it. Let me be involved. And that friendship turned into an organic, again, I would say most working together to try to push these health ideas into communities that were typically separated from them. Now, barbershops are like the country club for Black men, where you can go and find out, where's the best barbecue spot, who's the best basketball player, LeBron, right? You have all those conversations. But we could also talk about stuff like, when do you get a colonoscopy? Like, how do you use a condom? What does it mean when I'm feeling depressed, or do you know anybody who has cancer? Like these things happen in barbershops too. And so I'm happy that we're able to give information that's reliable and services that are necessary in those same spaces.
That's what's up, man. And like I said, it's been happening in different circumstances, but now to bring it to the forefront to also be able to have everybody share information. Like y'all tune in, or y'all, because I know you guys are going hard. People tuning in, people giving questions, you taking questions and dial it. And now again, through the platform, social media, you can be anywhere, tune in and give information or receive information, man. I think that was super, super dope, man. I'm gonna throw a couple of pictures up here from you, man. I had to dig in the archives a little bit, man. I got a couple of graphics, bro. Give me some information, things that come to mind when you see the pictures come up, man.
I'm with it.
All right, here we go. It says, "Be patient with me, y'all. It's my first day on IG." I thought that was funny.
Yeah, no, this is I had for a long time not messed with Instagram, and then this day I decided to do it. This is a picture of me going into my third year of residency.
Okay.
We were getting ready to receive they have these trauma activations, and someone I think had fallen from like a building or from a fire escape, and it was right before that came in. You could see me with the scrubs and the gown and everything to keep the blood off of me, but I was getting ready to run in there and intubate a patient, and so they took the picture.
That's what's up, man. Dope. All right, here we go. Next one. I think it's dope, bro.
Yeah, man. So this is during the pandemic. I was blessed enough to get linked with about 20 other physicians of all different specialties. And we decided like, hey, we have to talk about this health disparity around COVID. And let's use the lenses and our collective social media presences to push reliable information that's vetted through 20 different sources. And so I still talk to these brothers today, and we did something that I think has never been done. I truly wish it was more so highlighted, but every last one of these guys has worked in some capacity on the front line and are still continuing to be beacons of hope for Black communities in the medicine space.
This brother right here, I can't remember his name, with the Christian brothers played basketball. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, so my boy Jamie, man, Jamie Rutland.
Jamie with the CB, I know him very well. I was like, I see him on the billboard, on the commercial. I said, wait, he in a commercial? I'm like, I know him, man. Good dude.
So Jamie and we did a show called Barbershop Medicine on YouTube. We were able to interview Anthony Fauci together.
That's what that
was.
It
two Sacramento kids talking to the foremost authority on COVID at the time. And so it was just a blessing, man.
That's definitely dope, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. But definitely look for ways to tap in and do some more stuff like that.
That's right.
All right, little one right here. Here we go. Next one. What does guys mean to you, man?
Oh man. So from left to right, Brandon Earl, he is my college roommate from Sacramento, California. We were also in the debutante ball in the Botillion together.
Throwback.
Yeah, man. Next to me is my god brother Victor, and he's throwing up 916, and he just wanted us to know. And this is Aaron Odom. This is Officer Odom, another guy I grew up with and have been in his wedding, and we all together we're family for real from 916. And this is on one of the roughest days. This is in Antioch Progressive on the day that my mother's funeral was, and the fact that you can see us all smiling and laughing lets you know how brotherhood really works.
So in knowing that to me, but also, bro, like during that time, and I'll leave the picture up there though too, because bro, like in the matter of certain things, as we know as Black people, certain things bring us together, but the bond you guys had, it was there from day one. Like I said, we stair steppers, bro. We right behind each other, but we grew up. We have literally grew up together, bro. Like we have grown through life together, and to see us still pushing on, our parents appreciate what we're doing, and they would, you know what I'm saying? They lived through us. They lived through us. You can tell right now, everybody, you know what I'm saying? You can see the joy. You can see the memories from we was little. I can see y'all when we was running around, messing around. Like it's a dope visionary. In spite of, it's a dope to see y'all Black men together still, right? I tell people, man, it's dope to have people have new friends. They say right now, you guys, we've been friends for over 25 years, maybe probably 30 years. I'm sorry. Let me say 30 years, right?
Yeah.
30 years, right? Growing up through things together, but also being in this stage today, which has been dope, man. And this last one, I always talked about it earlier, but let me, for all my, again, being HBCU, I got to get this up there for you one more time, man. What is it? Because, hey, I went through some of the older videos a while ago. I just saw them randomly, but the energy you put, bro, in those step shows, in some of those things you showed, and I was like, man, my guy, yes, you are the doctor, but also you have been, you know what I mean, this is something that is dear to you. Shout out to, like, I mean, we can go down the line, man. My cousin Zach Young, Storm, Don D. Hale, you know what I mean?
You already know.
I know when y'all get together, when that pistol grip come up,
it's like, going. I'm gonna get airborne.
I know.
No, man, this is beautiful. Like the Black fraternities and sororities have served as pillars of our Black community for a while, and I'm just blessed to be a part of the oldest and the coldest fraternity known to man. And I feel like if it wasn't for my experience in terms of like as a young person being interested, but engaged with Alpha Phi Alpha, you know, they gave me a scholarship, the only fraternity I had that gave me a scholarship as a high school student. And I didn't even like fraternities at the time. It really came down to that experience. Morehouse College, shout out to Alpha Rho chapter and all my brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha. I will forever be thankful and will continue to lead the way that brothers do, onward and upward.
Yeah, that's what's up, Doc. So at the end of every show, man, I appreciate you. I know y'all get your rest. This is his off day, y'all. He gave me almost an hour of his time on his off day. But in basketball, you know, take back the hoop real quick, the triple threat, drill, pass, shoot, right? But man, I know you have an extensive career. You're still going. You're still changing the mark. But I would like to get your triple threat, right? 3 things that the Doc can either let people know who may not know about you, but 3 things you hold your hat on or accountable, or how you think people should kind of go about their way or business life, whatever it is, man. Give me 3 gems that you want to give out right now. You're a triple threat from the doc right now, from the 916 doc, my brother, you know what I'm saying, right now, man, on before we end this episode, man.
One is going to be health is the great equalizer. You have to realize that if you do not invest in your health and wellness and your well-being, you will find out sooner and later how far you can really go. You know, this is something that we as a community have consistently undervalued, and I'm here to help us remember and reclaim how it should be prioritized in our lives. The second thing is going to be, you have to know from whence you came. Like, there's so many community connections, and our lineages are so rich with people who are amazing, incredible, excellent, and we can tap into that ability to continue to push ourselves to do good work. And the last thing I will say is, no matter what you do, you got to serve. There's no greater joy in life than being able to serve another person in a way that is selfless, because that is truly how you create a system of humility, and also show other people that it is okay to go ahead and give service. Because if we don't do that, I guarantee you we don't advance as a people, as a community, as a species, however you want to look at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. I mean, you hit on the head, man. I mean, that's super dope. And I would say for us, man, let's make sure we do. I mean, I know schedules be busy. If we can do our part to help inform on my platform, your platform, whatever I need to do, whenever you feel like you need to come on and give information, bro, you know, it's a one tap. Jay, I need to tap in. Let's get this out there, or we can have an informal, have open discussions, whatever we need to do, bro. You know, it's love, but also it's purposeful. So as this grows, as this thing grows, and people connect with us, bro, or me, I want to do my part as well to help get your message out there. Because again, for me, I can vouch for you. I'm putting my stamp on it too, bro. You stamp with me, and I appreciate you, dog. Like I said, keep doing what you're doing. Take time for yourself when you can to get a little bit of rest, my dog. I know it's tough.
I plan on it.
I know it's tough. I know sometimes those nights, those dreams shall probably still happen. But I mean, I'm praying for you. But I'm definitely excited, bro. It's dope to see what you've become, man. We knew you always going to be something special. We knew it back then. You're not proving us wrong. And, you know, I mean, it's dope to see, but also it's glad to be forever linked with some dope people. Again, like I said, man, like you said, Sac, we got him. But I'm even saying my inner circle, we got him.
Right. I already know.
We got him, bro. So, I mean, I appreciate you, dog, on this day, man. Again, have a good rest of your day. Tell sis, pops, everybody, what's up, man. Keep going. And I'm gonna tap in with you to get that information, to get that t-shirt to you, man. So you put that shirt on. I got you, bro.
Hey, let me get these last three things I want to say.
Go. It's all you, bro.
No, it was just because I feel like I would be wrong to not give 3 clear things medically that people can do.
For sure. Let's get it in.
All right. 1, colonoscopies. I can't say it enough. And I know that's a weird thing to talk about, but we've watched some really incredible people pass because of failure to get basic screenings. So colonoscopies, mammograms, these things are life-saving, and I'm really encouraging your listeners to take a moment to check in with a doctor to do that. The second thing would be, again, mental health, man. Mental health, we have as a community have undervalued this. We treat it like grandmother's couch, like it's underneath, you know, some plastic, and we can't really touch it or approach it. Those days have since changed. You know, we've changed the stigma around mental health, and so I'm encouraging people to think about therapy as a way to address personal trauma or childhood trauma. And I think that the last thing is, we're still dealing with COVID. You know, we're still dealing with people who are getting these infections and stuff. So if you have a family member who is immunocompromised, just look out for them. Try to figure out the safe thing to do. Either wear a mask when you're around them, or try to tell them to be conscious of their own issues and consider maybe getting vaccinated if that's something that they are at a higher risk for. These 3 things, I think, are something that you can take into this summer and take into the rest of this year and try to set yourself right from a health standpoint.
Again, colonoscopies, and it's not, and again, timing is everything. Last weekend, I was in the Bay Area, met a gentleman who was out there. He's, I guess it was the colon cancer or prostate, either one, but both of them said, you got to get those tests. He said, males, guys, you got to get those tests, even though it may be an uncomfortable conversation to have. You got to do it. You know, he was like, I'm going to be an advocate. So you said mammograms as well, and COVID as well. So just, again, you're hearing from somebody direct to the point. Doctor, you see it right there. It said, doctor, it ain't me. You hear it from the doctor himself, but also somebody who's been in the field on the front lines in many different locations, man. You've been all over doing it. So you're not just, you've been serving in different cities, states, countries, whatever it is, to the point where it's the best experience you can get, right?
That's it. One-stop shop, bro. I'm going to
give
it to
man.
you.
Appreciate, like I said, bro, we're gonna tap in. So even if we got to inform regularly, have a show, we just inform, bro. We take 20-30 minutes to inform people.
Please.
Let's see it, you know what I mean? Because I mean that way we're consistent, they get information out, and hopefully we just, hey, if it's just one, then we get two. That's it right. Builds, it helps them out, man. Let's do that, man. Let's stay consistent with that. But I appreciate you, Doc. Have a good rest of your day. Hey, you heard it here first. 94 Feet with Coach JT, Dr. Italo Brown, Coach JT on this Monday afternoon episode. We out.
Be good, y'all.